Good morning, students. Today's lecture is about the analysis of casuarina tree. We have already discussed the uh, poet and the poem. We have gone through the whole poem and the summary of the poem. Today, we are going to discuss the analysis of the poem. So, first of all, we will talk about the title. The title of the poem, that is Our Casuarina Tree, it refers to the casuarina tree that grew in the garden of the poetess. The tree is a fond memory of her distant childhood on which she reminisces. Next, we will discuss the setting. The poem is set when the poetess is abroad somewhere on the coast of France or Italy and is reminiscing about her childhood spent in her garden under the casuarina tree, playing with her friends and brothers. So, she is not living in India at the time of writing this poem. Rather, she is living in France or Italy. Uh, exact location is not sure. The tone of the poem is one of remembrance and reminiscence. Means she is remembering, she is reminding, she is thinking of her brother and sister. The poetess remembers her childhood spent underneath the shade of the casuarina tree as she played with her friends. She misses her friends, that are actually her siblings also, and misses the tree and her home where she grew up. Now, the theme of the casuarina tree. The theme of our casuarina tree about lasting friendship and lost childhood. While on the surface it seems like the poem is only about the casuarina tree, it is more about her friendship with her childhood friends or her siblings, which she dearly misses. The casuarina tree is a symbol of their friendship, and thus she writes an ode to it. So she symbolizes or she immortalizes casuarina tree by the way of this poem. Next comes the symbolism. The title of the poem is Our Casuarina Tree, and casuarina tree here itself is symbolic. It was the tree under which the poetess and her friends played in their childhood. Thus, it holds a special place in the poetess' heart. Even when all of them went their separate ways, the casuarina tree stayed as it was. It became the symbol of their everlasting friendship and thus became dearer in the eyes of the poetess. So, here's the casuarina tree. Now, the critical evaluation of our casuarina tree. So, let us begin with a quotation from K.R. Srinivasan Iyengar, who writes in Indian Writing English, who comments over the poem, says that our casuarina tree is more than the poetic evocation of a tree. It is recapturing the past and immortalizing the moment of time so recaptured. The tree is both tree and symbol, and it implicated both time and eternity. Okay, this is what K.R. Srinivasan Iyengar says or writes about Casuarina tree, the poem Casuarina tree. Torudat has left behind such a glorious legacy that even today we think of her as a marvelous young girl who died before her prime after blazing a trail of brilliance in early Indo Anglian poetry. She was the first woman writer in the history of Indo Anglian literature. She was also among the first to realize and affect the much needed rapprochement between the Eastern and the Western knowledge. Torudat was undeniably the finest flower of Indian Renaissance that began with Raja Ram Mohan Rai, the tireless crusader for English education in India. The poem Our Casuarina Tree is a beautiful symbolic poem harmonizing both matter and manner in accurate proportion. The tree stands for a symbolic representation of Toru's past memory. Apparently, it symbolizes the rich tradition of Indian culture and philosophy which played an important role in shaping the poetic and aesthetic sensibility of the poets. In Keats' Ode to Nightingale, the bird symbolizes the world of art and beauty. In Shelley's Ode to Skylark, the bird is a symbol of freedom and liberty. Similarly, in Torudat's Our Casuarina Tree, the tree connotes the nostalgic feeling and memory of Torudat. This is the tree under which she played with with her brother and sister Abjudat and Arudat. So the very thought of the tree transported her to her golden past days. In the first stanza, she imagined the rugged trunk of the tree to a huge python winding round and round. The creeper has indented deep with scars up to the top of the tree. One may also sense a similarity between the tree in the clutches of a creeper attempting to sap its strength and the three young duds in the grip of a killer disease, that is tuberculosis. Toru says the flowers of the tree are hung in crimson cluster. Toru tells us that her casuarina tree, a heaven for winged birds and insects, is almost visibly alive. Alive with the buzz of bees and with the chirping of birds. This song, sung from the tree, soothes its listeners and has a tranquilizing effect on men who relax and rest as the bird sings. The second stanza is replete with the pictorial and visual imagery of the tree and the grey baboon and his offspring. In winter, a grey baboon used to sit on one of the branches of the tree watching the sunrise. On the lower branches, the offspring of the baboon used to leap about and play. Gradually, as the sun rises, the kokilas begin to greet the day with their song as a mesmerized Torudat watches sleepy cows that have not yet shaken off their lethargy on their way to the pastures. While in the third stanza, that establishes that it is neither the stateliness of the tree nor its external beauty that endears to her. She writes, "But not because of its magnificence, dear is the casuarina to my soul. The beauty of the tree is no more than an added gift. Its actual importance lies in the fact that it is a part of thus existence, a reminder of family ties, of the warmth shared by three siblings. The Abju Aru Toru bonding was indeed strong, and in Sita, Toru mentions three happy children sitting in a dark room listening to a story and then sighs because she knows that they will never again by their mother's side gather. Like Keats, she had to suffer a lot. She had seen bitter struggle for life and death, untold miseries after the death of her beloved brother and sister. The fourth stanza is highly philosophical. The poet observes, unknown yet well known to the eyes of faith. Here, the poem in the term unknown denotes not simply the native home of the poet but also the world of the departed soul. A man who has the eye of faith can see the unknown as well known. Yoga also says that when a man has unwavering faith in the existence of the divinity through the art of meditation and poetry, nothing remains unknown to him in the universe because he lives on the plane of consciousness, usually felt as vacuum of the transcendental stage of samadhi. This is what exactly Torudat feels here. Interestingly, Toru's mystical and spiritual approach to poetry is centered to her profound knowledge of great Sanskrit epics and scriptures. The music which Toru refers here is not an ordinary music which we hear in our day to day life. It is the music of soul, which once it is attained never dies and continues to vibrate with the highest percipience in the mind of the seeker. Torudat is not like the skylark of Shelley, the scorner of the ground, but she is the skylark of Wordsworth, a pilgrim of the sky, and does not despise the earth where cares abound. At the end of the poem, she absolutely transcends the mortal, materialistic, and mundane frame of mind and attains the power of love to overcome the negative forces of life like death and darkness, terror and fear. In this stanza, the words and the phrases like trembling hope, love, unflinching love, and devotion never fears the blows of death. Toru does not express any desire to fade far away and dissolve. Their casuarina tree does not make her long for easeful death. Instead, even though it is timelessness mocks the transience of the human world, the tree is to her a support, a reminder of the joy she once experienced with Abju and Aru. So, in the final stanza, Torudat, aware of both Druidism and the customary tree worship in India, wishes to consecrate a lay in the casuarina tree's honor. To sum up, the poem Our Casuarina Tree shows a perfect blending of feelings and forms, matter and manner. It contains what Eliot means by his phrase unified sensibility. It is combination of both East and the West. In form, it is very near to the Romantic and the Victorian poems. In theme, it dives deep into the unfathomable ocean of Vedanta and the Upanishada of body and soul, life and death. Thank you. Thank you very much.